Hello, everyone. So, Scott and I just finished a conversation about vulnerability. And while I thought initially that we were completely different on different pages, it turns out we weren't. We really weren't. But what we ended up with talking about the fact that we often don't know how to feel an emotion because we don't know what we feel, and we have labels on it that are not really an emotion, they're just judgments, because there are no good or bad emotions. They're just pleasant and unpleasant. So what we do is when somebody says, how do you feel, we say good, or the other options are pretty good, not too bad, pretty bad, shithouse, fine. And we all know that those are not emotions, they're judgments. They are just labels we put on. This is how I feel right now. I'm judging the the physical sensations that I have without actually feeling them consciously. And then I say good, pretty good, bad. My favorite is fine, fucked up, irrational, neurotic, emotionally unavailable. So talk to the hand. I'm not really here. So we thought we'd talk about what that is for us.
I just love it, right? Because I'm sitting here going down here. Someone asked me how I'm feeling. Okay, fantastic question. Because some parts of my life are going really good and I'm really enjoying them. Other parts of my life are shit and I need to improve them. And they're causing me frustration because I
Mm,
don't feel I can move forward.
sure.
But I'm enjoying life.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, I have clients who say, I just don't want to feel frustrated anymore. And I say, do you really want a life without frustration? Frustration moves us forward. It says something's not quite working. I need to make a change. Now imagine your life without frustration. You would be putting up with all sorts of crap.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
would just sit there and patiently take it and go, it's okay. So frustration is super useful. I love frustration because it means get going, be accountable, take responsibility, do what you need to do in order to fix it, whatever it is that's not working.
And if you don't deal with that frustration, it'll become anger, which is another emotion that really gives us an opportunity to dive into us and find out what is really important
Yep,
because you're only ever going to get angry about something you really care about.
exactly.
Oh, thank you for showing me that.
And then if you don't manage the anger and you keep pushing it down and you're going, I'm fine, it turns into rage. And that becomes a really festering emotion that can lead to all sorts of health
Mhm.
problems, relationship issues. It can lead to self-harm. It can lead to harm of other people. So, and then there are the side benefits, in quotes, of resentment and envy and jealousy. So there are all these emotions that if we don't feel what we're feeling and we just put the dampener on and go, I put the lid on it and go, I'm fine. This the domino effect of how that can impact our lives is huge. So when people say, oh, I don't really need to feel that, I don't need to be frustrated, I go, please be frustrated. Please be frustrated.
I love sitting in an emotion.
Mm.
I love it. I
Just not
love
for too long.
no.
No. I mean,
What
we're not talking in an extended full bath, right?
No, no, no. We're not just going to soak ourselves in it, pop our
No.
head underwater, and then just sit there for a bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to swim through it,
Yeah.
right? Oh, really frustrated at the minute. Okay, it's just things just aren't quite going on. What exactly is not quite working right?
Mm.
Really, it's financial. It's just I just can't get that right. It's creating other problems in my life because if I don't have that sorted, that means I can't do X, Y, Z, which impacts my relationships.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating me right now. How cool's that? What do you mean? Well, let's have a look at finding ways to support that financial situation so we can feel less frustrated. But I really want to thank you for sharing that. And I think that for me is we live in a world where it's click. We flick, we click, we
Mhm.
flick, we click. And we do that with our emotions. We try to flick and quick,
Yeah.
right? Instead of embracing the opportunity to feel.
Yeah. Absolutely. So here's the trick for I was going to say advanced players, but it's not. It's really this is really important. When you know that you're frustrated because of your financial situation and you know how it impacts your relationship, what you're doing is you're identifying your needs. You're
Mm,
identifying what matters to you. Financial security or ease or progress. There are hundreds of needs that we have at any given time. And that's why I like the unpleasant and the pleasant and unpleasant, because when I have unpleasant emotions, it means that my needs are not being met. Whereas when my emotions are positive, in quotes, pleasant, my needs are being fulfilled. But we rarely notice that. This is why the so-called negative emotions are perceived as negative, because we are more aware of them than about the ones when we feel, when our needs are being fulfilled, we just cruise along. We don't have to pay attention to that. The brain has this negativity bias. It goes, this is not working, need to pay attention to that. That ensures my survival. So it gets amplified and magnified and becomes much bigger. Oh, this is working for me. I don't have to pay attention to that. I can just cruise along. Right? So if I'm frustrated and I go, my financial security is not really working for me right now, what am I going to do about it? That then gives me a tool to actually do something. But if I go, I'm fine, all good, nothing's going to happen.
sorry, I'm just smiling, right? Because if you tell me you're fine, I'll go, oh, really? Oh, really? We're just fine, are
I've
we?
trained you well, haven't
Oh,
I?
really? Right. But I think this is the opportunity, right?
Exactly.
Because when when we have that full stop, I would like to call them a full stop. I'm good. It's a full stop. Don't talk to me
Yeah.
anymore. Right. Um, in general, we'll walk past that.
Mm.
And it's a really big missed opportunity.
Mm.
It's a
Yeah.
really big missed opportunity to create connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really? Are you sure? What a different opportunity.
Mm.
But I think that's something else that we need to look at with our emotions. I think the one thing that if I could wish anything for our society is to take more time with them,
Mm. Yeah.
right? And the reward will be so full because you're taking the opportunity to get a better understanding, which means you're going to be able to make progress,
Mm.
contribution to one another. Like
Mm.
for me, and just in the work I do, I really focus on three C's, right? Courage, connection, and contribution. The courage to step beyond the door that we need to walk into,
Mm.
the courage to to open our hearts. And then we'll create the connections that we need to have, and the connections to ourselves, the connections to our friends, the connections to our community. But what really makes everything stand out is contribution, right? When you contribute to the conversation,
Yeah.
you contribute to your friends, you contribute to your community. But in those three aspects of life that I really focus on with the guys, our emotions play such a big part in that.
Mm.
Because understanding our emotions understands what we project. When we project pleasant emotions, pleasant opportunities, because that's what we're feeling,
Mm.
the people around us feel that. The
Yeah.
people around us engage, and we get that mirrored back at us. Understanding our emotions is so important
Yeah.
for that very reason.
So the thing is that's really important, and I know you and I both know that, is you don't have to do the artificial happiness. You don't have to go around and say, "Oh, everything's," that's the I find that, I find that really undermining. So we're not saying you need to go around and say, "I'm wonderful, everything is great," and substitute fine for wonderful. It is the ability to actually process the emotion and say, and I call that detox with somebody, like I had the other day with Scott, where I just had a little blow up, because life was just so tragic, and I was wearing my drama queen tiara full on for 10 minutes or so. But it's the ability to know when it's a good time to do that. There will be times, and this is again where vulnerability comes in. So if you haven't listened to vulnerability, please go back and watch that video. It's the ability to put the boundaries in place and say, yeah, I want to talk about this now. So you don't have to go when, let's say, you're standing at the checkout in the supermarket, supposing it's not the self checkout, and you actually have a cashier there, and they say, "How are you going?" You can sit and say, melancholic with a touch of hopefulness. That will probably be a bit of an overload for the other person, right? You don't have to go that deep, but take it as an opportunity to check in and say, you know what, I'm actually really cheerful right now. And you will find the other person goes, really, that's lovely. And if somebody says, fine, and you do this when you walk up to people, when you share your socks, right? You don't take no for an answer necessarily. And yes, when people say no, absolutely not, you go, sure, absolutely, and they walk away. But if somebody opens the door just a crack, you're there with a big smile and you say, really? You're fine? And how often people respond to that with, actually, no, I'm not fine, is amazing. And this is this whole thing of we want to be heard. So people, whoever's listening to this, open up. Just feel what you're feeling. What you do with that, that's a totally different story, but feel what you're feeling.
I'm just, there's so much I want to go.
Go.
But I'm just going to share the reality. Life is better with a smile, right?
Yes.
And I wear this or a smiley everywhere I go. Always got smileys on my collars or yellow nails start conversations. It's the joy that comes because I found my inner smile
Mm,
by sitting with my emotions and understanding how the situations in life have actually helped me grow.
yeah.
I had to feel all of that and understand what I was projecting.
Mm,
So then I can project a smile,
mm,
which gives other people the opportunity to find theirs by going through their emotions. And the, the biggest part for me that has really helped my heart is listening to others.
yeah.
Really, and when people give you their authenticity, it is wonderful,
Mm,
and like talk about detox. I took the Botox of life, right? We fill our life with shit.
mm,
Yeah. I am loving spending time with the men that I'm not going to say work with because we're doing this together, right? So it's
mm,
a joint effort. It's a
yeah.
growth opportunity. And the women that we love, partners that we love, are those that are authentic, that value themselves enough that they turn up as them.
Mm,
No shame,
yeah.
and I love that world. I love it. Like, yes, it can be difficult at times and it can be really unpleasant,
Mm,
but we need really good fertilizer for our trees to grow. So sometimes we've got to get some really good shit in our life that just goes, oh, I'm feeling awkward and I don't know what I'm
yeah.
doing, but I'm going to turn up.
Yeah.
I'm going to explore it.
It's that whole life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you.
Mhm. I was actually having this conversation with Oscar the other day. Oscar's my 13-year-old son, and if you've met me, you would hopefully know that that's an important part of my journey is fatherhood. Fatherhood's the very thing that I think I want to do permanently. I'll explain that another day. But I'm having the conversation the other day, and we I've lost my train of thought. I'm going to be sideways. So, I've completely lost my train of thought. But
You were talking to Oscar the other day.
about, I knew I shouldn't have gone sideways because it was a really good conversation. I did went sideways about fatherhood and I lost it. No, no, and it was really good.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. See what we go.
Yeah.
That was. How did I feel in that moment? Yeah, and it's funny, right? Because you're going to share this with people, and I've stumbled, right?
Mhm.
I stumbled. I haven't given it. I've made a mistake. Have I? I've turned up. I've had a conversation about how things are feeling.
Mm. So you're talking about, were you thinking about protecting children from our emotions, or what was the trick?
Never,
No?
never,
No.
never. I never protect. Like I don't. Oscar comes to the men's nights
Mm.
with men. He's been my 2IC since he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
He's been running the door for men because I believe in order to be a man, you got to be around men. But and he sits there as men talk about suicide, as men
Mhm.
talk about their deepest, darkest problems.
Yeah.
And he is so much more involved in himself because he's seeing other men
Mm.
express their stuff.
Yeah.
So he knows it's important too.
And what he sees is he sees a healthy management of emotion. He sees people not, and I think this is one of the reasons why people find it so hard to talk about their emotions. One of the phrases I would just, if I could eliminate this from everybody's language, that would be absolutely wonderful. You make me feel. Nobody makes you feel anything. They can trigger you, but it's your choice what you do with it. So when Oscar grows up with people who own their emotions but don't project them on other people and say, you make me feel, now it's your fault, you're to blame that I'm angry, that I'm this, that I'm that, you're not fulfilling my needs. So therefore, it means he can own his emotions and then he can be accountable and he can process his emotions and manage them in a way that I call this sunshine. You spread the sunshine. Life is better
Yeah,
with a smile.
yeah.
You don't have to go and spread the fog where everybody around you then becomes miserable because they get sucked into all of that lack of trust and blaming and God knows what else.
I was, yeah, I'm just going to agree because otherwise I'll end off on another massive tangent because
You never do that, Scott. You never go on tangents.
oh, squirrel. No. But that's yeah, and that's such an important part in life,
Mm,
right? Because everything comes back to our projection. No one can make you feel anything.
yeah.
That is your choice. If you want to stay stuck in it, that is your choice.
Hmm.
If you want to take the opportunity to investigate what really is going on and what's really hurting inside you and what you're really feeling, that's courage.
Yeah. And
You know?
vulnerability.
And yeah,
And we've come
so
full circle. We
always
started
do,
off
don't
with
we?
fine,
Yeah.
and now we're going just own your emotions. So,
And if you're feeling something you don't understand it, maybe reach out.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
feeling this, but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
On
Angela,
that
hi, son.
note,
I,
please feel free to reach out. We're here.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you for listening and watching. And we'll see you next time.
I want to say a massive thank you, Angela. I want to say thank you for helping me understand my emotions more by giving me tools to help other men understand what our emotions are. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure.